Hey, y'all. Snowman here. I just got home from Chicago. Spent part of the day there running around, taking care of some business, and got most of it taken care of. I have to go back probably Friday to finish everything I need to finish because, like I said, got something big coming down the pike. Okay. The reason for this Snowman's Take live comes from a very dear friend of mine. No, he's not a friend. He's a brother. Joshua Lopez. Follow him at Notorious Joshy. And do me a favor, please subscribe to the Joshua Lopez Wrestling Podcast. It's a fabulous, fabulous show. You can hear it every week. And I'm going to see if I can talk Josh into letting his show, the Joshua Lopez Wrestling Podcast, be part of the Arena Sportsnet Podcast Network. Oops, I let a cat slip out of the bag. All right, here's the story. I read his rant on Derrick Rose and Joshua Lopez. I agree with you 100%. Unfulfilled expectations is a part of the reason Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah had to go. Period. They had one good run, which was 2011, when they got to the Eastern Conference Finals and couldn't solve LeBron James and the Miami Heat. Sorry, Justin. 2012, they were the top seed again. Unfortunately, that's when the injury bug really clipped Derrick Rose. It started hitting him with the 2010 season. So, after all that went down, Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah got shipped out of here. Now, everybody wants to say the Bulls should blow it up and start over. To a point, I agree. But to another point, don't blow it up completely. The Bulls are expected to be active at the trade deadline, which is tomorrow. Start young, okay? Feliciano is going to be a beast, okay? You heard me say it first. I will say it again. Feliciano is going to be an absolute nightmare matchup for a lot of teams in the East. In fact, let me read some of the things that Joshua said on his Twitter. Follow him at Notorious Joshy. He said the following, and I quote, "You don't have to snag older players, but challenge yourself and build a team around Jimmy Butler's strength. It's not rocket science. It was time to move on from Tibbs, Mopey Rose, and Joakim Noah. Unpopular opinion, and I get it, Derrick is a hometown hero." Close quote. I'll close the quote there. He's right. There were too many factors that cost the Bulls in the Tom Thibodeau era. The main thing that kept costing them were injuries. I said it before and I'll say it again, and no one wants to believe me until now. The only thing that cost the Rose were injuries. Period. Now, let me say this. There is a possibility, the rumors have been floating around, that Jahlil Okafor, a Chicago product, may come home. I would accept Jahlil Okafor coming home if he gets his head screwed on straight. This is the problem that I have with college basketball players being one and done. That's the biggest problem that I have. It's nothing with them physically. It's a lot up here. Okay? It's between the ears. I've had many a coach say to me, it's what you have between the ears that determines what you do on your field of choice. And it's the truth. It is the God's honest truth. And Joshua, you couldn't be more on point with what you said on Twitter. Oh, again, if you want to see what he wrote, go follow him at Notorious Joshy, okay? Now, I challenge the Bulls to build around Jimmy Butler. You shipped Derrick Rose out. You got rid of Joakim Noah. Tom Thibodeau bit the dust 2 years ago, all right? Now, you have Jimmy Butler. Build around him. You got an all-star who stays healthy, unlike Derrick Rose, unlike Joakim Noah. And Joakim Noah and Derrick Rose, if y'all think about it, haven't done a cotton-picking thing for the Knicks. That's on them, and that is on the Knicks organization. Do not get me started on the Knicks organization. When I do, I'm going to have a buddy of mine, one of my homies, Michael Lyle, big-time Knicks fan. I got to have him on when I do a Snowman's Live take talking New York Knicks. The trade deadline this trade deadline, 2017, is going to be the busiest trade deadline ever. And again, Carmelo Anthony is mentioned in the conversation. I'm going to say something that is so unpopular, but so true. I hope the Knicks let him go and nobody takes him. Oh, what's the matter? You didn't hear me? Let me say it again. I hope they let him go and nobody takes him. Why? Defensive liability. I'm not saying he wouldn't be a valuable player offensively. I'm not saying that at all. Okay? But when you're trying to make a stretch run for the playoffs, you need players that will dig in and play defense, period. You won't get that with Carmelo Anthony. You will not get that with Carmelo Anthony. Let me go back to the Bulls for a moment. Hey, Doug McDermott, when are you going to start taking some more shots, and when are you going to become a better defensive player? Okay? Feliciano is going to be a beast for them if you get the right players around him. As a matter of fact, you know what I say? Start him. Start Feliciano and see if he doesn't elbow the hell out of LeBron James or Kevin Love or any of those guys. Now let me move on to another point. I will give you a dark horse that can steal the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference this year. And that dark horse is the Boston Celtics. I am praying that they do not make a move for Carmelo Anthony. Why, you ask? They have a great coach in Brad Stevens, and it's starting to come to fruition what kind of a coach Brad Stevens is. Hey, if you didn't see him at Butler, too bad. But they have some great pieces in place. They have some great pieces in place. Now, what the Boston Celtics need to do is get a younger big man. Al Horford can only do so much. I'm not taking anything away from Al Horford. But you got to get a younger big man. Jay Crowder, the rest of those guys. Hey, look, as much as I pick on my friend Sean Mann about the Boston Celtics, real recognizes real. And the Boston Celtics are real. The Boston Celtics are one of the biggest threats to quote-unquote King James and the Eastern Conference throne. Okay? In fact, I will give you my top 4 teams, and I got a buddy, Michael Hogue, who's going to think I'm nuts. He's going to think I am bleeping nuts, but I don't care. I will tell you my top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference right now, and none of them include the Cleveland Cavaliers. None. Want to know who they are? Huh? Want to know? Want to know? Okay. I will tell you. In fact, I'll tell you 3 of them right now, and I'll let you guess the 4th team. And, Michael, before you even open your mouth, it ain't the Indiana Pacers. Yeah, thank you, Joshy. The king, my ass. I will say this one more time for all you LeBron stans out there. It goes like this. The real king's last name is Jordan. Get me? Let me say it again. The real king, the real number 23, to borrow from the late, great Bobby the Brain Heenan. Love this dude when he said this in 91. The real world's champion is Michael Jordan. And there's only one other player that draws higher comparison than Michael Jordan. and that's Bill Russell. Magic Johnson said it best, and I quote, Michael Jordan is the greatest player. Bill Russell is the greatest winner. Robert Horry is a greater winner than MJ by only one ring. Bill Russell has 11. Robert Horry has 7. Michael Jordan has 6. Bill Russell's in the Hall of Fame. Michael Jordan's in the Hall of Fame. Where's Robert Horry's recognition? What about some recognition for Big Shot Bob? Robert Horry, I think, should get a more than a couple of votes for the Hall of Fame. Okay, Robert Horry has twice as many titles as LeBron frickin' James, and 2 of those titles for LeBron James were handed to him. Oh, what? You didn't hear me? You didn't hear me say that conspiracy theory that actually has some merit behind it? Let me say it again. 2 of the 3 titles that LeBron James won were handed to him, period. Now, I can go on all night about LeBron James, but I will save that for another live take because I'm going to need about, 3 days and about 60,000 cups of water, like the one I'm going to drink here right now. But anyway, back to the point. One of the points, the team that could unseat the Cleveland Cavaliers for the top seed, as my phone is going completely crazy right now, are the Boston Celtics. At the start of the season, I can honestly tell you, I laughed at this proposition. I laughed at the Boston Celtics. I'm like, the Boston Celtics? Are you out of your fucking mind? No, I'm not. I will say it. If there's any team in the East that can unseat the Cleveland Cavaliers, as crazy as a lot of people are going to think I am, it's the Boston Celtics. And don't discount the Bulls either. If they make any kind of moves, they get younger and they get stronger. The season's only halfway done, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be surprised. Yeah, the Bulls are hanging on to the 8th seed by a thread. But there are 2 things you need to consider. Number 1, the Bulls have 2 victories over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Oh, my buddy Brett Hill, no love for the DC boys? Hell no! I'm sorry, Bradley Beal and John Wall can only do so much. And don't even give me Marcin Gortat. So Brett Hill, there's another one of my homies, Brett Hill, checking out the festivities. No love for the DC boys. I know a lot of people in DC are not going to like this answer, but hell no. If they start shooting better from the field, we'll talk. I will say this. I will not completely discount the Washington Bullets. I'm sorry. I'm not saying the Washington Wizards. They're the Washington Bullets. I will not discount Washington. I will not discount the Washington Bullets. I said it. The Washington Bullets. Not the Washington Wizards. The Washington Bullets. Okay? But the Washington Bullets have been so damn inconsistent, it's not even funny. If they wind up being one of the top 4, and that's a big old if, I'll be surprised. Don't discount the Bulls in making a long enough run to be one of the top 4 seeds. I said it, and I meant it. Do not discount the Bulls from making a run in being one of the top 4 seeds. Period. I said it, I meant it, and I'm sticking to it until the final day of the regular season in April. The Bulls were on a good run last year at the beginning part of the season, but they fell off. They started inconsistent this year, but this is February. This is the end of February. There are 2 good runs left in this Bulls team. If they build around Jimmy Butler and Feliciano and make Feliciano the starting big man, there's no telling what this, and especially if the Bulls find a way to get Jahlil Okafor. Everybody's talking about the Brow and Boogie and what they can do in New Orleans. Daryl Owen says, do you think they will trade Jimmy Butler? Are you out of your bleeping mind? Jimmy Butler's the cornerstone. He's staying in Chicago, unlike Derrick Rose, who begged and pleaded his way out. And in essence, played his way out because he didn't want to play basketball. That's not the Derrick Rose I knew growing up when he played at Simeon. He always loved playing. And when his injury happened, it changed his mind, and too many people got in his head. I'm just praying that Jimmy Butler doesn't suffer the same fate of people getting in his head. I just hope that Jimmy Butler does not suffer the same fate as Derrick Rose and allow people to get in his head, period. Build around Butler, build around Feliciano, find a way to get Okafor back home. The trades are going to be off the frickin' charts. I'll do a live take when I go back to Chicago. That's Snowman's take. There may be another one later. Who knows? I just finished dinner and I don't know what the hell to do next. I'm supposed to record an interview for the King's Court. And do me a favor, folks. Please go to, I'm rebuilding arenasportsnet.com, and I'm making a little switch. One of my buddies, Jesse Green, got a hold of me today, said he wanted to put a show together and put it on my network. So I'm going to make this offer right now. If you have a show or a podcast that you want to feature on Arena Sports, on Arena Sportsnet and our network, get a hold of me. Drop an email to bsnow@arenasportsnet.com, and we'll talk. As for what will happen in the East, my dark horse is the Boston Celtics to take the #1 seed. And Mr. Esparza, you may have a point, but I'm going with what I'm going with what I'm seeing here. I'm going with it. My thoughts on the West at another time. Snowman out.